So you have the change levers identified, and you also go about doing those changes. Now, what's a typical cycle time for, I'm sure it will depend on the size and the complexity of the organization, but in your experience, Bob, when you have worked with so many organizations, would you give us some examples of culture transformations?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the literature suggests that it takes around 4 years to realize a real transformation. Our experience is that if top management is committed, that's of course a very important requirement, then from the moment they start the change process, it will take 2 years at the most, at the maximum, and not 4 years. And that's because our tools are so targeted, they are so precise.
So for a lot of organizations, when you say 2 years maximum, what about an organization, let's say, of the size of 1,000 or 2,000 people within one country? If I were to be doing a culture transformation, would I not do it much faster?
Yes, well, of course, you always have to ask yourself, because normally people are already very busy in their organization they are working in or in their company, how much time and energy is there to realize a change process. So ideally, when you talk about a big organization, it may not be wise to try, certainly when it comes at the level of different subcultures, to change everything at the same time. Ideally, you start with top management, with those parts of the organization which are crucial for the future success of the company. And then slowly you can take on others. It has happened that sometimes when we work for a client, that other groups get very upset when the culture has not been measured in their case. It was not necessary, but then they feel, why were we left out? It's actually very funny, because normally the people don't always like to fill out questionnaires, but that can happen. But that's all, you always define that in a discussion with the client. How much effort can you do on top of what you're already doing? And one of the things we also therefore do is a change process should not be a freestanding separate activity. Actually, at the moment change starts, I always say to the client, don't any longer talk about culture. Culture is only helping you to analyze your work reality. But in reality, it's not about changing your culture. In reality, it's about making sure that you realize your goals and objectives in the best possible way. So it should be always related to the real life work situation. And that's what we do, given that we can measure so precisely.